But the press conference yesterday, obviously, I discussed it on Twitter yesterday as I was watching it, and I got slammed on Twitter all night. I thought it was a good press conference. I thought the reason that I tweeted out was because I felt that the president was able to come out and say, look, here are my failings from the other day. Here's why I spoke the way I did the other day. I'm trying to get the facts together. I thought in that regard he did a good job. I also thought the press conference was very revealing. What he said about Steve Bannon. When asked about Steve Bannon's future, he said, we'll see what happens. The last time we heard him say, we'll see what happens, was about Jim Comey and Reince Priebus. So I thought that was very revealing. But what did you think of the press conference? Your thoughts, Caitlin?
Well, I think that it was not a good day for this president. I actually thought it was a disaster. I think that Monday he had the opportunity to expand upon his statements that he made over the weekend, and instead kind of erased any goodwill that he had established in trying to gain traction again with critics. And I think that, you know, he left wiggle room on this issue, and you saw a lot of Republicans come out very quickly and try to contrast themselves with this president. So I think this is going to be continued problems for him. Jack?
Yeah, I think it was revealing. I think it reveals that our president is out of touch with the race situation in our country. I don't think he has been out of his bubble long enough to realize that neo-Nazis, Klansmen, skinheads, these groups represent terrorism. They represent slavery. They represent lynching and mobbing of black people since the beginning of time in this country. And as a president of the United States of America, to stand up in front of the people and in any way defend the other side, that's like defending a terrorist from the Middle East who flies over here with a plane. I mean, that's on the same level. And so I'm actually proud of this country right now. I'm proud of this country because you've seen people on both sides of the aisle come together on this point. Republicans, Democrats, people are standing against this, and they're not going to tolerate it. But there's one good thing that's coming out of this, is we're having this conversation.
Yeah, that's right.
And this is a conversation that's needed to be had.
You're right.
As an African-American man living in this country, you see, you know, the results of slavery are still before us. The reason why you see so many African-American men in jail, the reason why you see so much discrepancy in education when it comes to our African-American community is because of slavery. It's because of the history. It's because we've always pushed these things under the rug. And now it's out in the forefront, and I hope we can continue to talk and have these positive conversations.
You're right.
And open up the dialogue.
You're right. And yesterday with the press conference, because of all of the commentary, you really saw the vitriol and the rage around this. And that's what needs to happen to have this conversation.
That's right.
You're absolutely right. Lee Carter.
Look, I think the bottom line here is we say in our business, it's not what you say, it's what you hear. And so when the president went out to he went to try to set the record straight. He wanted to say we've got problems on all sides. He wanted to sort of contextualize. He did double down on his stance against racism, against bigotry. But the problem is, right now isn't the time to contextualize. Right now isn't the time to start shifting blame. Right now is the time to say, this is a problem, not under my watch. Any Trump supporter who wears my Make America Great Again hat, who goes out there in the name of white supremacism, is not a supporter of mine or my agenda. That's the only thing that matters to the people right now. And this happens all the time in crisis response. Rather than reacting to the value that's offended, rather than focusing on the issues, people want to start fighting back and be right. The time for him to do that is later. The time right now is for us just to sit there and say, this is not okay, and we've got to fix this and we've got to address it. And so while we can look at what happened yesterday and parse the pieces and say, okay, he did double down. And I agree with you, he did, or triple down, as we were just talking about. There were other things that could be taken away that could make things worse. And that's what we can't afford to have right now. And we all agree and stand, I think we all stand in solidarity on this issue, saying we will not have white supremacism in our country. We all thought this was over. This was a fight that we weren't still having, and yet here it is. And so I think that the president right now needs to understand he can't just say it once. and expect it to go away. He can't just have his press conference on Monday and 2 hours later say, why isn't everybody giving me applause for doing the right thing? He's not just got to say it once, he's got to say it 100 times. Like he said, make America great again, a million times. He's got to come out strongly against this and unify America, because we are a hurting nation right now. I think we're all standing here in disbelief that this happened in this day and age in Charlottesville, in our country, under his watch, and it's got to stop.
Yeah, really incredible analysis.